Hello, welcome to next session. In this session, we will solve grade 2016 XC thermodynamics paper. Notation used: P pressure, V volume, T temperature, S entropy, H enthalpy, U internal energy, A Helmholtz free energy, Cp specific heat capacity at constant pressure. Specific properties are designated by the lowercase symbol. Useful data are universal gas constant R is equal to 8.314 kilojoule per kilomole per degree Kelvin. Cp of air is equal to 1.005 kilojoule per kilogram per degree Kelvin. Ratio of ideal gas specific heats for air is 1.4. Molecular mass of hydrogen is 2 kilogram per kilomole. Okay. So these are the data given, and so we start solving the question paper. Question 1 to question 9 carry 1 mark each. Well, question 1 is: which of the following thermodynamic property is not an intensive property of a thermodynamic system? Not an intensive property means it doesn't it it will depend upon mass, because then it is an extensive property. Okay, then pressure, temperature, and density are mass independent properties, and volume is mass dependent property, and so it is an extensive property. Okay, so answer is your D. Uh, Density is specific mass. Okay, so that's why it is an density property. Okay, and pressure and temperature we know that uh, specific. Okay, density is mass by volume, so it doesn't depend on mass. Okay, density of material is constant. Okay, so question number second. An U-tube manometer shows a high difference of Z1 between two columns. For a known gauge pressure P1, both Z1 and P1 in appropriate units. If the height difference between the two columns is 2Z1, then the corresponding gauge pressure will be A P1 by 2, B 2 P1, C P1, D 4 P1. Okay, so this is the U2 millimeter. Okay, and let H be the height difference and rho be the density of this liquid, and rho m be the density of the liquid within the U2. Okay, okay. So now applying uh, balancing head. Okay, at here. Okay, so PA is plus rho GH, PA plus rho GH here. Okay, and PB plus your uh, P plus rho M GH. Okay, so this is above this, we are taking pressure. Okay, okay. So the difference will be PA minus PB is equal to rho M minus rho GH, and it means the difference of pressure between these two will depend upon, okay, will depend upon your H, or if it is Z1, so then it is Z1. Okay. Now when the high difference is 2 Z1, then the corresponding gauge pressure will be uh, corresponding gauge pressure will be doubled. Okay. So it will be 2 P1. Okay. So answer is 2 P1. Next answer is your 2 P1. Water vapor can be treated as an ideal gas for all the temperature and pressure, for sufficiently low pressure regardless of its temperature. The water vapor can be treated as a ideal gas at low pressure. Okay, regardless of its temperature. Okay, at low pressure and at very high temperature. Okay, In case of water vapor, the high temperature may be resistant. Okay, the any gas can behave like a ideal gas. So water vapor will also mm, behave like an ideal gas at low pressure. Okay, so answer is your B. No need to read the C and D. Okay, so they at very high pressure only. Okay, not okay. Next question is question number 4. The thermal efficiency of a Carnot engine is 0.5. If the temperature of the cold reservoir is 300 Kelvin, then the temperature of the reservoir is thermal efficiency is zero point 0.5. Okay, so this is zero point 0.5 T1 minus T2 by T1. Okay, the T1 is the highest temperature and T2 is the lowest temperature, 300 Kelvin. Okay, so T2 is your 300 Kelvin. Now you can put T2 as 100 Kelvin at a zero point 0.5. So it will be, so T1 will be your 600 Kelvin. Okay, so answer is your A. In a reversible constant pressure non-flow process, heat input is given by option B change in enthalpy, option C sorry option A in a reversible the heat input at constant pressure is given by change in enthalpy. Okay, and at constant volume it is given by change in internal energy. Okay, so answer is your B. Okay. Next, moist air undergoes an adiabatic saturation process such as the relative humidity of the air increases. For this process, A. Dry bulb temperature increases, specific humidity increases. B. Dry bulb temperature increases, specific humidity decreases. C. Dry bulb temperature decreases, specific humidity increases. Dry bulb temperature decreases, specific humidity decreases. This is the moist air. Okay, 1 2. Okay, this is adiabatic situation process. So 1 2 is your adiabatic situation process. You can see that the relative humidity increases. Okay, and specific humidity also increases, and your tribal temperature decreases. Okay. So answer is your C. The tribal temperature decreases, specific humidity decreases. Okay, and your this relative humidity increases, humidity will remain same. Okay, so answer is your C. Tribal temperature decreases, specific humidity decreases. Next, a steadily flowing idle gas undergoes adiabatic throttling, where T1 temperature before throttling, T2 temperature after throttling, assuming no change in kinetic energy and potential energy due to which due to throttling, which of the following is correct? Uh, a steady as the process is adiabatic throttling, okay, and the gas is idle gas, okay, so enthalpy will remain constant, and for the idle gas, for the throttling process, enthalpy is constant, and for the idle gas, when enthalpy is constant, temperature is also constant, so T1 is equal to T2. Okay. So there will be no change in the answer is A. Next, for irreversible heat transfer from a hot body to cold body, if delta denotes the property change of both hot and cold bodies, that is difference between its final and initial values, then delta denotes the property change. Okay, then del S is equal to 0, B del U is equal to more than 0, C del S less than 0, D del S more than equal to 0. For a property, for an irreversible process, the entropy change will be more than 1. Okay, so it will be greater than 0. Okay, so answer is your 0. This one would be 0. Okay, so final minus initial. Okay, final minus initial will be greater than 0. Okay, so answer is B. Next, A closed system undergoes a cyclic process for the net work done by the system on the surroundings. Which of the following statement is true? Net work is always zero. B. Net work is cyclic. PdV. If the process is reversible, network can be negative, network can be positive. The network will be cyclic PdV if the process is reversible. Okay. That is given by the area of the cycle. Okay. The network is given by the area of the cycle. So answer is the P for reversible processes. Okay. Network can be positive, negative, or zero depending upon the processes in the cycle given by and is given by cyclic PdV. Okay. If the process is reversible. Okay. Next. Now question 10 to question 12, 22 carry 2 marks each. Okay. Question number 10. Consider the following statement related to second law of thermodynamics. P. A cyclic heat engine cannot produce net work by exchanging heat only with one turbine. A cyclic heat engine cannot produce net work. Okay. A cyclic engine cannot produce net work by exchanging heat with only one turbine. Q. The efficiency of a reversible heat engine is dependent on the nature and amount of working substance undergoing the cycle. R. It is impossible to have a cyclic device which will produce no effect other than the transfer of heat from a cold body to hot body. S. It is impossible to have heat engines operating between heat source and sink to have lower efficiency than that of a reversible heat engine operating between the same source and sink. Okay. For which of the following operations both the statements are inconsistent with respect to second law of thermodynamics? Okay. You have to choose the statements which are violating the second law of thermodynamics. So first statement is in accordance to second law of thermodynamics that an engine requires two reservoirs. Okay, so with one reservoir cannot exchange heat. Okay, so that is correct. Two, the efficiency of the reversible heat engine is dependent upon it doesn't depend upon the nature and working of the process. It will the maximum temperature and minimum temperature. Okay, okay. For a reversible cycle, the efficiency is T T1 minus T2 by T1. It depends upon only the temperature. Okay, so this is the wrong statement. It is impossible to have cyclic device which will produce no effect other than yes, this is according to second law. It is correct. Okay. Now, as it is possible to have the engine operating between a heat source and sink to have lower efficiency than that of no engine can have the same or more efficiency as that of reversible engine. Okay. So this statement is also incorrect. So answer is the B. Okay. Next, consider the following statement related to air standard auto, diesel, and Brayton cycle. The Brayton cycle has at least one isentropic and one isobaric process. Q Otto cycle has at least one isentropic and one isochoric process. R Diesel engine has at least one isentropic and one isothermal process. S at least one of the cycle has an isothermal process. So Brayton cycle has two isentropic processes and two isobaric processes. Okay, so this is correct. Okay, so Otto cycle has two isentropic processes and two constant bonding processes. So we will be having at least one isentropic and one isochoric processes. Okay, so Q is also correct, but diesel cycle does not have any isothermal process, and all the other cycles, all the three cycles does not have at least one thermal. Both cycle have isothermal process. Okay, so answer is the better cycle is two Isomeric to isentropic, and orthogonal to isentropic to isotonic, that is decay to isentropic, one isomeric and one isotonic. Next, the volumetric analysis of a hydrocarbon combustion product shows 8% CO2, 15% H2O vapor, 5.5% O2, and 71.5% NP. The combustion product flows steadily through a heat exchanger at 200 kPa. The pressure assumes each component in the mixture to be an ideal gas in order to avoid the condensation of H2O. In the heat exchanger, the minimum allowable temperature in degree Celsius is. So here the total pressure is your 200, okay, and pressure of, and percentage of water vapor is 15%. Okay, so the partial pressure of water vapor will be in according to this, okay, according to 15% of your 100 or 200, it is 30 kPa, and according to 30 kPa, your saturation temperature is here as 69.12. Okay, so this is your 69.12, which is the condensation or saturation temperature according to pressure 30 kPa. Okay, so answer is your 69.12. Okay, next question number 13. An equimolar mixture of two ideal gases A, B expand isentropically in a nozzle. The gas mixture enters the nozzle at 300 kPa, 400 degree Kelvin, and exits at 100 kPa. Assuming the mixture to be an ideal gas, the exit temperature of the gas mixture in Kelvin is. Here it is given that the gas mixture enters at 300 kPa and leaves at 100 kPa, and temperature of entry is also given. Okay, so uh, the process occurring in the nozzle is isentropic. Okay, so for this we need gamma. Okay, so first we have to calculate gamma. Okay, so as both the gases are equimolar, so their Cp and R can be easily calculated by using that molar masses and molar masses. Okay, molar masses and Cp, and similarly the Cp of mixture can be also calculated. Okay, now for gas A, R will be Ru by molecular mass. Okay, so this will be Ru, Ra. Similarly, we can find out Rb, electric gas constant of this B. Okay, Ru by molecular weight. Okay, so now as they are equimolar, we need not to go to the difficult conclusion. Just we have to get the average of these two, uh, then we will get the property. Like Ra plus Rb by 2 will be the mixture of will be the R of the mixture. Okay, and Cp plus Cpa plus Cp by 2 will be the Cp of the mixture. Okay, similarly we can calculate by using that R is equal to Cp by Cv. We can calculate Cv. Okay, once Cp and Cv are known, we can calculate gamma Cp by Cv. Okay, this is the for mixture. Okay, so gamma is coming out as 1.048, sorry 1.408. Okay, so now we can use the isentropic relationship with the pressure as 300 kPa and temperature at 400 Kelvin and the exit pressure is 400 kPa. Okay, so P1 by P2 is equal to P1 by T2, gamma AB minus gamma AB minus 1. Okay, using the isentropic relationship, we can find out P2. Okay, so this is the exit temperature, that is 292.24456 Kelvin. Okay, so answer is here 292 by, so this is the fill in the blank question. Okay, so answer is here 292. Okay. Next, a rigid vessel of volume 10 meter cube is filled with hydrogen at 25 degrees Celsius and 500 kPa. Due to leakage, some of the gas has escaped from the vessel until the pressure in the vessel drops down to 200 kPa and the corresponding temperature of the gas inside the vessel is found to be 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, the amount of gas leaked from the vessel. Okay, now the volume of the vessel is your 10 meter cube and temperature is 25 and pressure is your 500 kPa. Okay, now from this we can find out. Okay, and your now some gas has been leaked. Okay, so that the final pressure becomes 200 kPa and temperature becomes 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, now uh, as the gas is hydrogen, for which the molecular weight is 2, so we can include R of it. Okay, so from this, from the using PV is equal to MRT, we can calculate initial mass. Okay, that comes out P is your 500. Okay, 500 K, 523, B is your 10 and T is your 25 and R is your 4.157. Okay, and you can calculate M1. Okay, this is the initial mass. Now, when the mass has been leaked, okay, so some mass has been leaked, the final condition becomes 200 kPa and 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, and volume of the vessel is same, that is 10. Now the new mass, now the after leakage the mass is we are using P2 V2 is equal to M1 M2 R P2. So we can find out M2. Okay, 1.67 kg. Okay, so leakage will be initial mass minus final mass. So difference will be 2.3565 2.365 kg. Okay. So answer is your question number 43. Here 2.365 kg. Okay. Next, a hot ideal gas Cp is equal to 1.2 kilojoule per kilogram per degree Kelvin. Okay. Steadily flows through a turbine with inlet and exit temperature of 1500 Kelvin and 500 Kelvin respectively. The minimum mass flow rate of the hot gas to achieve a power output. Now power output is your 12 megawatt or 12 uh, megajoules per second. Okay, power output is 12 into 10 plus 6. Okay, okay, and mass. Let M be the mass flowing through the turbine. Okay, now the power generated by the turbine is MCP T in minus T exit. Okay, T in is your 1500 and T exit is your 500. Okay, so CP is your 1.2 into 10 power 3. So M comes out as 10 kg per second. Okay, so answer is M 10 kg per second. Next, air pressure inside a spherical balloon is proportional to its diameter. The balloon undergoes a reversible isothermal non-flow process. During the process, the balloon maintains its spherical shape and air inside the balloon consumes 2 kilojoules of heat. Initial air pressure inside the balloon was 120 kPa when the initial diameter was 20 centimeters. Assuming air to be an ideal gas, the final diameter of the balloon in centimeters. Now, we know that the P is, no, sorry, it is given that the P is the important diameter. Okay. So, let's see with the proportionality constant. Okay. So, now diameter of the balloon is, as it is a spherical shape, pi dq by, sorry, volume of the balloon is, volume of the sphere is pi dq by 6. Okay. So, from this we can have B is equal to this 1.2407 B 1 by 3. Okay. So the P relationship becomes putting the value of your D. Okay, becomes 1.2407 C 1. Uh, okay. Now what has been done? During the process, the balloon maintains its spherical shape. The balloon undergoes reversible isothermal process. Now the isothermal process has been performed. So if the process is isothermal, so change in internal energy will be zero. So in this, according to first law, dq will be equal to dw. Okay. As the process is isothermal, so for the isothermal process, we can calculate this PdV. Sorry, work done. Okay, and for the and pressure variation is given like this, okay, like this, okay. So PdV is your this is your work done, okay. So integrating it 4 by 3 because of 4 by 3, so V2 by V1, okay. So V2 4 by 3 minus V1 4 by 3, okay. Now Q12 is your heat is given as 2 kilojoules, okay. And air consume 2 kilojoules heat, okay. So heat supplied is or heat consumed is 2 kilojoules, okay. So this is 2000, okay. Now your initial diameter is so wait. Assuming air to be like, initial air pressure inside the balloon was 120 kP and initial diameter is 20 centimeters. I think the final you have to calculate the final diameter. Okay. So now we have this equation. Okay. Okay. Now P is your when P is 120 kP and diameter is this 0.2. Okay. And your C will be P by D because this constant is this. Okay. So P by D, putting this value, we can get C. Okay. Now we have the value of C. Okay. And we have initial value that is according to 0.2 meter diameter. Okay. So we can calculate final volume by putting the value of C as V1. So it comes out as, so now again putting the value of V2 as pi d2 cubed by 6. So we can calculate the final diameter. Okay, that is 31.69 meters. So repeat the procedure once again. Repeating the procedure once again. Okay. Given that the pressure is directly proportional to diameter. So pressure is directly proportional to diameter. Okay. And proportional to constant is for C. Okay. Now your volume of sphere is pi dq by 6. So d cube is 6d by pi, or putting the value of d here, we can get this. Okay, putting the value of d here, we can put this. Okay. Now again putting the value of now we have according to first and the process performed is an isothermal process. Okay, this is a process when there is isothermal non-flow process. Okay, undergoes reversible isothermal non-flow process. Okay, and the temperature is constant, so Pg integral will be 0. So dq is equal to dw, and now dw we know as Pdv. So P putting according to this. Okay, now integrating it by integrating it we get this. Okay, in terms of C. Now initial pressure is your 120 kPa and diameter is your 0.2 meter, and C is according to this relationship. C is according to this relationship. So your C will be P by D. Putting the value of C and V1 is according to 0.2 meter. We can find out V2 and then we can find out diameter. Okay. Next question. An air standard diesel engine has a compression ratio of 18. The ratio of volume at the end of compression process and a cutoff ratio of 2. The ratio of volume at the end of heat addition process, so that at the beginning of to that of at the beginning of this heat addition process. Okay. Cutoff ratio is given. You know the cutoff ratio and you know the compression ratio. Okay. And thermal efficiency. So this is state formula question. Okay. Where rho is your cutoff ratio and R is your compression ratio and gamma is your 1.4. Okay. Putting the values we can get. You have to cram the formula. The marks for this question is based on the how you are cramping down. Okay. So that formula you have to remember. Okay. So answer will be 63. Efficiency of diesel. Okay. All the other things are straightforward. R compression ratio, rho cutoff ratio. Okay. So answer is 62.175. Okay. Next, compressed air at 1 MPa, 400 degree Kelvin, temperature flows through a large pipe. An evacuated insulated rigid tank of 0.5 meter cube volume is connected to pipe through a valve. The valve is opened to fill the tank, and the valve closes automatically when the pressure reaches 1 atmosphere. Assuming ideal gas behavior, final air temperature in the tank is. So this is the question of filling of tank. Okay. So here the 1 MPa pressure and 400 degree Kelvin temperature is the flowing pressure and flowing temperature. Okay. Flowing gas temperature. Okay. And the volume of the tank is 0.5 meter cube. Okay. And you have to fill the tank till the pressure reaches 1 MPa. Okay. So the flow energy of the uh, gas of the air should be equal to change in internal energy of the tank. Okay, because in tank the air is not flowing. Okay, so and in pipe the air is flowing. The flow energy is represented by enthalpy, and the energy at constant volume is represented by change in internal energy. Okay, so MPHP is equal to M2U2 minus M1U1. Okay, so initially the tank is empty. So tank is empty. So M1 is zero. Okay, so M1 is zero. Initially the tank is empty. From the flow through it, not the okay, initially the tank is empty. Okay, so this quantity is zero. So MPHP is equal to M2U2. MPHP is equal to sorry. So MP is equal to M2U2. So all the mass that is filled in the tank is same as that of uh, that is going through pipelines. Okay, so M2 will be equal to MP. Okay, so M2 MP cancels out. SP will be equal to U2. Okay, so SP is your CP and CB is your G2. Now CP by CB is your gamma, and C2 is your gamma CT on 1.4 to 400 500 Kelvin. Okay, so answer is your 500 Kelvin. 560 Kelvin. Okay. So temperature after filling the tank is this. Next, a 40 kilogram metal block CP 0.5 kilojoule per kilogram per degree Kelvin at T 450 degree Celsius is pumped in 150 kilogram oil. Cp is equal to 2.5 kilojoule per kilogram per degree Kelvin and T is equal to 25 degree Celsius. If the combined metal and oil system is fully isolated from its surrounding, then the net change in the entropy of the combined system is here the mass of the block is 40 kg. Okay, and temperature is just 50 400 degrees Celsius. Okay, now it is quenched in so quenched in this oil. Okay, with mass and temperature are given. Okay, now the heat lost if the combined system is fully isolated from the surrounding. Okay, then the net T. Now let Tf be the final temperature of the system. Final it means final temperature of block and final temperature of your oil. Okay, oil. Okay, so then the heat will be lost from the block and heat will be gained by the oil. Okay, so heat lost by the block is equal to heat gained by the oil. So that is 40, 40 mass and your zero point 0.5. Okay, 450 minus Tf final temperature and heat gain is 150 into 2.5. Okay, Tf minus 25. Okay, so we can get PF as final temperature of both oil and log in 46.5 on it. Okay. Now what we are going we have to calculate the net change in entropy of the system. So we now the heat is lost from the block. Okay. So its entropy will decrease and heat is gained by the oil. So its entropy will increase. Okay. So, but the final temperature here will be less than 450, okay, and here the final temperature will be more than 25, okay, okay. So we'll put MCP into ln TF by TI plus MCP for oil, okay, ln TF by TI for oil, okay. So putting this value, this will automatically come down as negative because here the final temperature is less than the initial temperature. Here it automatically comes out as positive. Okay, so answer will be positive, that is 9.8131 kilojoule per kilogram per degree Kelvin for the industry. Okay, next. For phase change from solid to liquid state, if the slope of the solid liquid coexistence line in the PT diagram is negative, then V liquid less than V solid. Okay, V V liquid greater than solid. T S liquid less than S solid. D H liquid less than H solid. Okay, so here the we can see that the slope is negative. Okay, okay. And so volume of the liquid at volume of liquid will be specific volume of liquid is less than specific volume of solid. Okay, slope is specific volume of liquid will be less than specific volume of solid. Okay, so we have to grab this specific volume of liquid. The liquid will act on try to remember like this is negative sign. This is any negative sign. Okay, so when we mm, expand the well, when when volume increase takes place. Okay, decrease in volume takes place, then there will be decrease in pressure. Okay, upon expansion, so volume of liquid should be more than. So if we expand them, okay, then solid will be converted into liquid. Okay, so solid will be having more volume because of negative. So you have to pair this. Okay, next. PT diagram is negative. So this is PT diagram negative and volume of solid is for them. So this is for water vapor. Okay, okay, and then this is for other substances. Sorry, this diagram is that substances that contract upon freezing. Okay, that contracts upon freezing. So upon freezing, the volume will decrease. Okay, and this is the graph when the substances which expand upon freezing. So it is having negative slope. So you have to clear this nothing to understand about it. Okay. Next, a household refrigerator operates under steady state condition between an evaporator temperature of 263 Kelvin and condenser temperature of 323 Kelvin. The heat load of the refrigerator is 3 kilowatt. Actual COP of the refrigerator is half of Carnot refrigerator. The operator operating between the same condenser and evaporator temperature. The power required in kilowatt to run the refrigerator. Here the condenser temperature is 323. Okay. and evaporator temperature is 263. Okay, and so the ideal COP will be condense because it is evaporator, so we have to take the minimum temperature as a evaporating fact. Okay, so 263 divided by this T1 minus T2. So the COP of the evaporator will be either COP of the evaporator will be 4.38, but the actual COP of the evaporator is half of the carbon COP, so it is 4.38 by 2, so that is 2.19. Okay, so this is actual COP. So actual COP is nothing but evaporating effect by power required. Okay, so evaporating effect is your 3 kilowatt. Okay, so we can calculate the power 3 by P is equal to 2.19. So P is equal to 3 by 2.19. So that is 1.3688 kilowatt. So answer is your 1.63688 kilowatt. Next, the Maxwell relation that results from the expression for Helmholtz free energy A is equal to U minus Ts. So this is the Helmholtz energy, that is A minus UTS. Now your T as Helmholtz is the property of the system. Okay, so now differentiating it. Okay, so this is dA, du minus TdS minus STD. Okay, now your dA. Now du is your d. Now this quantity is your minus PdV. So the dq is equal to TdS is equal to du plus PdV. Okay, so it will be minus PdV. Okay, so this quantity du minus TdS is equal to minus PdV. Okay, and this is minus SdT. So now A to be property of the system. This curly P by curly T add curly P by curly T add B constant and curly S minus curly V and T constant should be equal. Okay, omitting the negative sign both sides. We can have then P curly P by curly T V curly S by curly V T. Okay, so option C is the right answer. Okay, that's all from 2016 HCD. Thank you very much.